Thank you very much, Madam Chair. This has been a fascinating and really important hearing. I'm forced to mention up front how much Maine is involved. ORPC, who's with us here today, is based in Portland, Maine, and the country's first floating offshore wind project, Aquaventus, is on track to move forward in Maine in the next couple of years. So I really want to thank you for this important hearing, and also brag a little bit about the role that Maine is playing in this development. I think that I can't emphasize enough how important the federal investments in research are. The model is the development of hydrofracking technology, which was supported by federal research. It wasn't economically viable at the beginning, but of course now we know that it is. The same thing with solar and wind. The price has gone down tremendously in the last 10 years, and it was the federal research support, as I think Mr. Davies mentioned, that had a lot to do with developing the technology, the infrastructure, the supply chain that enabled that to happen. So I want to thank Dan Simmons. He's been to Maine for the work that they've done, for the support they've given to our Aquaventus offshore wind project, because if the very first Ford built by hand was pretty expensive, now they can build Fords at very reasonable prices because of the development of demand and the supply chain and the infrastructure. So I think that's an important point. I wanted to ask Mr. Cruikshank about if there's research being done in connection with other agencies on fisheries impacts. We have a very vigorous fisheries industry in Maine, as they do in Alaska, and our fishermen are going to want to know what are the impacts, what are the implications, and I'd also like to have our friend from Equinor give her thoughts as to what's been the impact, if any, on fisheries on the offshore project in Scotland. So, Mr. Cruikshank, any thoughts on that issue?
Yes, Senator, thank you for the question. We have funded quite a lot of fisheries research from BOEM's Environmental Studies Program. In fact, we've funded about 22 fisheries-related studies along the Atlantic that have tried to capture baseline information on fisheries movements and fisheries habitat, as well as studies focused on the impacts of sound in the water and electromagnetic fields. So we've been doing our best to try and learn what impacts construction of these facilities may have. We are also partnering with National Marine Fisheries Service to conduct research, and we've entered an MOU with them and with the Responsible Offshore Development Alliance, which is a consortium of commercial fishing interests, to try and identify information gaps and focus research on filling those gaps. And as a matter of fact, the three of us are co-hosting a workshop next month on the state of the science of fisheries as relates to renewable energy, so we can further those efforts. Thank you.
It's going to be important to continue that work so that when we're moving closer to deployment, we don't have to start afresh on the research. I'm glad to hear about that. Ms. Kingdom, on the Equinor project, number one, are you seeing fisheries effects? And number two, is the power coming ashore AC or DC? I understand there's less EMF issue with DC, and there's some other advantages. What's the technology that you're using there?
Well, thank you for being interested in Hywind Scotland and floating wind. I think this is a fantastic technology for the future. And for us, it's extremely important to work with fisheries in general. So if we're talking the US, I will say we have a tremendous amount of meetings with fishery to listen to them and ensure that their interest is also being followed. So this is the balancing act we're working hard with, and it's the same thing approach we've had with also the Scotland project. So the Scotland project is, it's been operating for many years now. It's off the coast of Scotland. It's 5 turbines, and in a way, it was important for us. It was a research project in itself, because this is not only about having one turbine, but it's having
that's a floating project, right?
It is really a floating project, and this is the first time not being only one kind of installation, but it's 5 turbines, and then you have to you are testing a lot of things. You're testing you could say the anchoring, but also the interactions between these turbines, extremely important for us. Then also it's important that you continue to have the dialogues with the fisheries, as we're doing, in either in Scotland or we are doing at the moment, also in the US. And first, it's extremely important. If we look at the Empire project, which is kind of the first project coming along in the US, we've been spending a lot of time through working with WADA and having discussions there to ensure that some of the layouts that also could be adjusted according to the fisheries. And I think
Well, let me interrupt for a minute, just because I'm running out of time. But have there been substantial fisheries impacts that have
we haven't heard of any substantial. We haven't heard of any substantial fishery impact. But what I would like is to follow up with you after. I can give you some details on the work we've done on Hywind Scotland on floating. I'm sure that will be an interest for you, and then we can give you more the details both on the fisheries and also on the technologies, including that.
And is it DC or AC coming ashore?
I must say I think it's AC, but then again, I think I have to give you the details again. It's a long time since I worked with the Hywind Scotland, but I can assure you, can give you the details.
Thank you. Madam Chair, thank you very much. I hope we'll have a second round. I have a few more questions. Thank you.